So today I'm going to show you guys how to make a room-based level system in Godot 4. The method I'm going to show you today is super easy to implement while also being extremely scalable. So let's go ahead and hop into the code. Alright, so here we are in the project. You can see I have this little level set up, but the camera does not move to the next level, as you can see. So let's go ahead and fix that. So the first thing we're going to do here is make a new node in our game scene. This will be a camera 2D. I'm going to call this room camera and attach a script to it. Now, the way this is going to work is we're basically going to divide our world into a grid, and each cell in the grid will represent a level. I'm going to give this a class name of room camera. I just think it's best practice in a case like this. So the first thing we need to do is export a node to target. In this case, it's going to be the player. So the camera is going to watch the player's position and update based off of that. So I'm going to make an exported variable called target, and this will just be a node 2D. Next, we need to specify the size of our rooms. So this will be a room size variable with a type of vector2. And by default, I'm going to set this to 320 by 180. It is important to note that this is dependent on both the viewport size and the camera zoom. So for example, my viewport is 320 by 180, but if I had my camera zoomed in 2 times, I would have to divide both these values by 2. Next, we want to export a variable called follow smoothing. This will be a float, and I'm going to set this to 10.0 for now. And that is all of our export variables dealt with. So I'm just going to go ahead and assign a target. This will be my player, and the rest will stay the same. Next, let's make a variable to track where our current room is. So this will be a vector2. By default, we will use vector2.0. Then we'll make another variable called target position. This will be a vector2, again, setting that to vector2.0. Now, one thing I like to do for variables like these that shouldn't be modified outside of this script is prefix them with an underscore. This doesn't really affect anything in the Godot engine. It's just so that you know down the line, don't touch this variable outside of the camera script. Next, let's go ahead and open up the ready function. And now what we want to do is make an if statement to make sure that we have a target node. And if we do, then we want to update our current room. So the first thing I'm going to do is make a function called getRoomFromPosition. And then this will take in a position variable, which will be a vector2, and this will also return a vector2. All we need to do here is just return position divided by room size. And then we're going to floor this value. So now what we can do up back here in the ready function is set our current room. So I'm going to say current room is equal to get room from position, and then pass in that target.global position variable there. So now that we know the room that the camera should be targeting, we actually need to set the target position of the camera. Because currently it's just going to be targeting the top left, we need to calculate where the center of this room is. So let's make a function to do that. This will be called calculate room center, and then this will take in a room as a vector2, and it will also return a vector2. What we want to do here is return room times room size plus room size divided by 2. So this will calculate the center of whatever room is passed in here. So all we have to do now is just say target position is equal to calculate room center, and then pass in that current room value that we just calculated in the previous line. With that done, we can move on to the physics process function. So now what we want to do is every frame that a target node exists, we want to update our target position. Now we'll obviously have to make this function, so let's go ahead and do that. This will just return void. And all we want to do in here is just say target room is equal to get room from position target.global position. Then we want to check if the target room is different than our current room. Then we want to update our current room to match that target room. Next, what we can do is update the target position as well, setting that to calculate room center current room. After we update the target position, we actually need to move the camera to whatever the target position variable is. So we can just do global position is equal to global position.lerp target position, and then we can pass in that follow smoothing variable and multiply that by delta. So basically we are going to smoothly or linearly interpolate our global camera position to whatever that target position variable is right there. So now if we run this game, you can see the camera moves to center on this first room that we have here. And if I move outside, you can see it updates. But there is one other problem, and that is spawn points. Currently, I just have the spawn point set to 0, 0 for the player. So let's go ahead and implement this spawn point system. So we'll make a variable for current spawn point. This will be a vector2. We won't set it to anything for now. Then we'll make a variable for room spawns, and this will be an empty dictionary. The way that this is going to work is we are going to have a vector2 room matched with a vector2 of spawn position. So basically we will access the room based off of its vector coordinates, and that will return where the players should spawn. Next, we need a function to populate this room spawns dictionary. So down here at the bottom, I'm going to make a function called cache spawn points. So we'll return void. So the first thing I want to do is just clear that room spawns dictionary in case something is in there. And then what we'll do is loop through each marker 2D node that we have in our scene tree. So we can just say for marker in get tree dot get nodes in group, and then this will be room spawn points. Then let's go ahead and get the room that this marker 2D node is in. So var room is equal to get room from position. This is going to be marker dot global position. Then all we have to do is say room spawns, pass in that room variable, is equal to marker dot global position. So now back at the top in our ready function, we just have to cache our spawn points. Then what we want to do down here when we update the target position, we want to make sure that we're also updating our current spawn point. So what I'm going to do here is just simply say current spawn point. Then we will do room spawns.get, pass in the current room variable. Now, in the event that there is not a spawn point set up for the current room, we can always just calculate room center for the current room. So now in the event that there is not a spawn point set up, it will just respawn at the room center. So now that is all we have to do in this script. I'm going to head over to the player.gd, and now what I want to do is, rather than setting my global position to vector 2.0 whenever I die, I actually want to first export a variable for the room camera. And then all I have to do down here is just say room camera.current spawn point. So now if I just set this room camera, so now if I run this, you can see everything works, and if I die, I get sent to the center of this room, which just happens to be inside of a tile. And that is because we have yet to set up any spawn points. So what you want to do here is, I like to make a node and just call it room spawns. You don't have to do this. This is just to keep your scene tree a little more organized. Then add a marker 2D node, call it room spawn. Then come over to the node tab, groups, and then assign room spawn points. You'll have to make this if you don't already have it, like so. Make sure that it has that group, and now all you have to do is just position it wherever you like for that given area. So there are all 3 spawn points set up for each different room. So now if I run this and I die, you can see I respawn back here as intended. So there you go. That's how to make a room-based camera system. Now, one other final issue that you may run into, it's hard to tell where the edge of each room is. Obviously, for the first one, you have the viewport to outline it, but if you want to fix that, you can configure snap. Then what I did is just simply set the step to the room size and then just set this to 1 step. And now whenever you need to see your grid, just enable grid snapping and you can see it there. Now this does come with some drawbacks, and that is that your moving nodes will now just teleport to these corners. So I just use it if I ever need a guideline of where the edge of my map is. So with that all said and done, I'm sure there's a better way to see the edge lines, but that is just how I do it, and they're very faint, so hopefully you can kind of see that there. But at any rate, I hope you guys found this video useful. If you did, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. Thank you guys for all the support. Also, I'm thinking about making a Discord server, so if that sounds like something you would like, then be sure to let me know down below. As always, any feedback is always appreciated. And if you have any ideas for tutorials that you'd like to see made, be sure to drop those down in the comment section as well.